to KET's News Quiz. I'm your host, Kelsey Starks. We'll get started with today's challenge question. Notre Dame Cathedral is located in what capital city? This city is located in a European country. The same city is home to the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre Museum. It's a global center for art, fashion, and food. The cathedral, you may remember, suffered a devastating fire last year that damaged much of the building and collapsed the main spire, but work is underway to repair and restore the well-known tourist attraction. Can you tell us the city and country? Notre Dame Cathedral is located in what capital city? We'll have that answer and some good news about the cathedral after the news. Topping our news, America is mourning the loss of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The U.S. Supreme Court is the highest court in the United States. It's the head of the judicial branch of government and has the right to overrule or undo decisions made in lower courts. Justice Ginsburg was appointed to the court in 1993 by President Bill Clinton. She was just the second woman to be named a U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Mrs. Ginsburg died at her home on September 19th after battling cancer. She was 87 years old. Hundreds of mourners gathered at the steps of the Supreme Court to honor her legacy. She will be remembered for fighting for the rights of women and minorities, including her defense of voting rights and equal pay for all workers. In other news, could other planets have life on them? Astronomers say they've found a sign of life high in the atmosphere of Venus. Venus is Earth's nearest neighbor. NASA has had several missions that took pictures and gathered information about the planet. They've even sent probes to the surface and learned that it is a hothouse, over 400 degrees. But scientists say the upper atmosphere of Venus is much cooler, and now they've found trace amounts of phosphine in the Venusian clouds. Phosphine is a gas that is only created by life here on Earth. The gas has been found in the bottom of ponds and the digestive tracts of penguins and badgers. Astronomers now wonder if it is a hint of life on Venus. They hope to learn more with possible missions into the planet's atmosphere in the next decade. Time now for the first part of today's quiz. Questions 1 and 2 are about Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Question 1. Justice Ginsburg served on the U.S. A. Senate, B. Supreme Court, or C. Electoral College? Question 2. In her role, Mrs. Ginsburg defended the rights of A. Women, B. Minorities, or C. Both A and B? Questions 3 and 4 take us into space. Question 3. Astronomers believe they have found a sign of life on A. Venus, B. Neptune, or C. Pluto? And question 4. That sign of life is a gas called A. Phosphorus, B. Potassium, or C. Phosphine? In other news, Americans are gearing up for our presidential election on November 3rd. But because of the COVID crisis, voting will look different. Instead of the majority of voters going to the polls on Election Day, many are opting to use absentee or mail-in ballots. Here in Kentucky, Governor Andy Beshear and Secretary of State Michael Adams worked together to find 3 different options for voting in this election. The Secretary of State oversees the Board of Elections. The Kentucky options are voting in person before Election Day. Voting locations will be set up throughout the state from October 13th through November 2nd. Or you can vote in person at polling places on Election Day. Or you can use absentee ballots, which have to be requested by early October. Those must be mailed back or put into ballot drop boxes by a specific date to be counted. Well, over the next couple of weeks, Jewish people around the world will celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Both are part of the faith's high holy days. But this year, Jews in Israel won't get together at the Jerusalem Great Synagogue for these special services. That's, of course, because of the coronavirus. Israel is a Middle Eastern country that borders the Mediterranean Sea. Jerusalem is its capital and is considered one of the most sacred cities in the world for Jews, Christians, and Muslims. This will be the first time since the Great Synagogue opened in 1958 that it is not welcoming worshipers for the High Holy Day services. Well, last week we told you about the 400th anniversary of the Mayflower's voyage from England to America. Well, a new Mayflower ship is preparing for another trip, and this one could benefit ocean life and the environment. The Mayflower Autonomous Ship, or MAUS, is an unmanned research ship that will cross the Atlantic Ocean in 2021. The maiden voyage was delayed by the pandemic. The MAUS is outfitted with artificial intelligence to help with navigation. There is high-tech machinery to monitor ocean temperatures and depth, and even audio equipment to detect the clicks and whistles of whales and dolphins. Researchers hope the ship can go to areas that manned vessels can't reach and collect information that'll help protect the unexplored SeaWorld. Time to explore the second part of today's quiz. You'll get a vote in question 5. Many Kentuckians will vote in the presidential election using A. Phone-in ballots, B. Absentee ballots, or C. Internet ballots. Question 6 is about the Jewish High Holy Days. The Great Synagogue is located in A. Israel, B. Jordan, or C. Egypt. And question 7 has a deep purpose. The Mayflower Autonomous Ship will study A. The Pilgrim's Voyage, B. Ocean life, or C. Volcanic islands. Here's a story about kindness during the COVID-19 chaos. Sister Stephanie Baliga is a nun in Chicago who was determined to raise funds for food and community outreach by running a marathon. So when the Chicago Marathon was canceled because of the pandemic, she found another way. She spent over 3 hours running the marathon miles on a treadmill. During her journey, supporters watched and cheered her on via Zoom. Sister Stephanie spent most of her run praying for her community and for those who were dealing with the virus and its effects. Her efforts raised more than $130,000 for her missions outreach projects. The Chester Zoo in the United Kingdom is home to 2 new green macaw parrots that hatched in April. Green macaws are native to Central and South America, but they are highly endangered. Wildlife experts believe there are less than 2,500 of these birds living in the wild. Zookeepers are keeping a close eye on the baby parrots. They were born without feathers, which is normal. Workers are making sure the hatchlings get enough nuts, seeds, and fruit to boost their growth. And if you're looking for some weird but interesting world records, stand by for the newest edition of the Guinness World Records. Englishman Luke Roberts has pet rats who broke a record for high-fiving. Well, high-pawing in a minute. Gary Dushel earned a spot with the world's longest gum wrapper chain. His stretches for 106,810 feet. For you soccer fans, an 11-year-old Nigerian boy has set the record for juggling a soccer ball 111 times. That might not sound like a lot, but he was also balancing another ball on top of his head. Also in the book, the world's oldest married couple is in Ecuador. The husband, 110 years old. His wife is 104. And you just have to read about the world's fastest electric ice cream van. The Guinness folks have been rounding up these records since 1955. Wonder if News Quiz could be a record winner. Here's the final part of today's quiz. You may be out of breath after question 8. True or false? Sister Stephanie raised money by running a marathon on her neighborhood streets. Is that statement true or false? Question 9 is colorful but rare. The baby birds are endangered green macaw, A. Parrots, B. Cockatoos, or C. Peacocks. And question 10 is about those odd but interesting record holders. You can read about the achievements in the book titled A. 2020 World Records, B. World Record Encyclopedia, or C. Guinness World Records. Let's take a break from the questions now and look at some of your goals for this school year. Thank you to the hundreds of you who shared your opinions with us. We love hearing from you. We start with Ada, a fourth grader at Riverside Elementary in Jeffersonville, Indiana, with a goal that we should all think about. She says, I would like to show acts of kindness. Ben and James are fifth graders with similar goals. Ben is from Mill Hill Elementary in Southport, Connecticut. His goal is to write a whole book, while James from Clark Elementary in Paducah, Kentucky says, I want to finish writing my book so I can finally finish writing a book. Great goals there. Andrew is in the third grade at Goshen Elementary in Oldham County, Kentucky. He has 3 top goals. 1, to make new friends. You can never have too many friends. 2, get better at writing and spelling. Very good. And 3, learn to read better. LaTanya is in the 4th grade at Mary Todd Elementary in Lexington, Kentucky. She has a musical goal. I want to become a musician. I have been inspired by Ms. Branch to play, and I've learned more notes on my flute from her teaching. We love hearing teachers inspiring students. And Patrick is homeschooled in Bath, New York. He also has 3 great goals for this school year. Those are 1, to keep my grades up. 2, counting money, important, and 3, to be successful and independent with all the work I do. Wow, all amazing goals. We'll read more of your letters here next week. Thanks so much. So, you have 1 more week to answer our opinion question. Tell us, what are your goals for this school year? You can send your opinions to us via email at newsquiz@ket.org, or you can use the form at ket.org/newsquiz. Be sure to include your name, grade, school, and teacher's name in your response. All right, time to get a look at today's answers. Are you ready? We'll jump back to that challenge question. Paris, France is the capital city where you'll find the Notre Dame Cathedral. Since the devastating fire there last year, historians and builders have been working to restore the landmark that was built more than 850 years ago. A crypt built underneath the cathedral wasn't damaged by the fire, but was filled with toxic dust and had to be thoroughly cleaned. It reopened to the public September 9th with an exhibit that pays tribute to Victor Hugo, who wrote The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and an architect who rebuilt the cathedral's spire in the 1800s. And here are the rest of today's answers. The answer to question 1 is B. The U.S. Supreme Court is where Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a justice. The answer to question 2 is C. Justice Ginsburg fought for and defended rights for both women and minorities. The answer to question 3 is A. Venus is the planet astronomers are studying. The answer to question 4 is C. Phosphine is the gas that may signal life on Venus. The answer to question 5 is B. Absentee ballots will be used by many voters in the presidential election. The answer to question 6 is A. Israel is where you'll find the Jerusalem Great Synagogue. The answer to question 7 is B. Ocean life will be studied by the new Mayflower ship. The answer to question 8 is false. Sister Stephanie ran the marathon on a treadmill, not on neighborhood streets. The answer to question 9 is A. Green macaw parrots hatched at the Chester Zoo. And the answer to question 10 is C. The Guinness World Records book has a lot of interesting achievements. Well, now let's munch our way into the end of the show. Managers of a park in New York City used some all-natural help clearing out weeds and brush this summer. They hired goats. Yep, you see them there. 20 goats were brought into the park, and in a matter of days, they had cleared out the overgrowth and had the land back in a manageable shape. Wonder if I could hire them to mow my lawn. That's it for us today. We'll see you here next week for more News Quiz. Bye.